going to start diving into formal logic, going a little bit deeper into that. And you want to remember that formal logic is the one that uses deductive reasoning, going from the general to the specific. And that's the style of logic that focuses on form, as the name implies, formal logic. Focuses on the form really even more than the content. And we're going to start off today by looking at two types of formal logic. And just a quick reminder, when we go through this, feel free to pause the video when you need to. Make sure you're taking thorough notes, and if you need to back things up and re-listen to something, please do that. So there's two types of formal logic, what we call the categorical and the propositional. Now, the categorical deals with specifics, either individuals or categories. And we're going to see an example of that in just a moment, what we mean there by individuals and categories. Propositional logic, on the other hand, deals with things that are more complex or perhaps even hypothetical. And again, we're going to see an example of that in just a moment. Categorical logic also focuses on details by using terms as the building block. And that's a word that you're really going to want to know, terms as the building block of the argument. And propositional logic focuses on a broader view by using whole sentences, something we call propositions. And that's another word you're going to want to know. Propositions that are the building blocks of the propositional logic. So let's just move on right now to an example of categorical logic. So we have this individual saying all teachers should love students. And the other person is thinking, well, I'm a teacher, therefore I should love students. And we say that that's categorical logic because it's focusing on either an individual or a category. For example, the fellow on the left who's speaking is focusing on the category of teachers, all teachers, right? That's a category or a group, if you prefer. And then the other person over on the right, she's thinking about herself. Obviously, that's an individual. I am a teacher. I should love students. So that's what we mean when we say categorical logic focuses on individuals or categories. Now, the good thing about categorical logic is that it helps us to focus on details, right? It draws our attention to very specific things. And sometimes that's the focus that you want, right? You really need to get down into the details of something, and categorical logic will help you do that by focusing on individuals or categories. Now let's take a look at propositional logic with another example. So here we've got two people. The fellow over on the right in blue is clearly in trouble, right? He's bleeding actually, and he's crying out, help, help. And his friend, the green guy over on the left, says, my friend has blood running down his leg. Either he was in a bicycle accident or he has been attacked by vampire kangaroos. I know he doesn't own a bike, so he must have been attacked by vampire kangaroos. Well, that's an example of propositional logic. He's not really focusing on individuals, he's focusing on a whole a system of things, right? He's looking at the whole situation through these propositions. There is this individual with blood running down his leg. He was in a bicycle accident or he was attacked by vampire kangaroos. He's looking at whole propositions or whole situations to consider. Now, it's fairly ridiculous, the conclusion that he comes to. And we see here even the little kangaroo comes in and says, wow, that guy really needs to learn about animals. And not only that, I would think that the guy needs to learn a little bit more about logic as well, because there are obviously other reasons why his friend could be bleeding, but he's trying to look at it from a broader perspective. Now, while that example was rather silly, it points out, though, the value of propositional logic. Propositional logic helps us to look at a broader situation. Where categorical was focused on details, the propositional logic helps us focus on the broader story or the broader scenario. And sometimes that's the perspective that we want. Now, at the beginning, as we go through the next few lessons, we're going to be focusing on the categorical logic. And one of the reasons for that is that categorical logic is really the oldest in terms of human reasoning. This is developed and expanded on by philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, St. Augustine, and St. Thomas Aquinas. And these are individuals who took the idea of categorical logic and really developed it into a serious system that we can use to really figure things out when we're looking at details. So that's where we're going to continue next time. See you then.